Okay, so we wait for the person come, but we continue as it is because I want let the audience to be engaged as fast as possible. Salam alaikum, good afternoon, everyone. I hope post lunch we are having a great session just before this one. I hope we'll make it equally interactive as much as possible. All right. I think we already have the introductions, so let's. Okay. All right. So, all right. We have our guest is on the way. Okay. So, with regards to the MSSP, how many of you guys actually use MSSP in your organizations here? Oh, it's only hardly, not even 1% actually, 1%. Wow, that's great. Okay, but till now, whatever the discussions happen, whether it is regards to the artificial intelligence, whether it regards to the cloud, whether it regards to any emerging technologies, one of the key things that as an end user organizations we all feel is how can we get better equipped to meet the requirements? How can we go fast? At the same time, how can we be resilient enough? Let's take some feedbacks from our fellow colleagues over here. All right, I'll start with Mr. Mukesh. Okay, what will be the selection criteria for an MSSP for you? Hello. What is the selection criteria for MSP for you and how it changed past few years?
Okay, so thank you so much. So for me, first I see that what tech stack we are having currently, and then based on it, we see that what MSSP offerings are available in market, because every MSSP will not be having skill set which are aligned to your organizational tech stack. And once we find that right fit, then we go ahead and see that what capabilities and other things they can offer, and based on it, we can frame the agreement, work on the SLAs and other stuff. So that's how the high level take is on MSSP from my side.
So when you are giving service to an MSSP, what is that worrying you?
So confidence is one of the things. So you need to go with a trusted partner, and once you had done the vetting and other stuff that yes, MSSP is capable in terms of technology, his skill set, and he can provide you the support in the need of hour, because this is a business where if something goes down, business can lose millions. So you need to have a reliable partner who has a good name and had helped you in a past, or you had worked with him, or you have got a good reference of that particular partner. So these are a couple of criteria which I will look on before
Good,
taking
interesting. We'll come back to the couple of questions with regards to this. Santosh, from your perspective.
Good evening, good afternoon, everybody. It's not good evening yet. So before I get into the MSSP conversation, I'll just take one step back, because moderator asked that question, how many of you guys are using MSSP? I mean, hardly 2-3 hands I saw. So the same difficulty I also faced. When I have asked for an MSSP service in my organization, the question asked is that you guys are doing a wonderful job, so why do you need an external partner for doing it? So I just put up a slide to the board that it is actually 2 jars. One jar was empty, which says before a security audit. The second jar was full of money after the security audit. So which is actually a WhatsApp which actually sent across to me. So the point being, having an MSSP, which is not actually the right word, I heard one of the previous speaker from SecureWorks, Mr. Gopan actually has mentioned, MSSP is not the right terminology, no, it's a new MDR is the terminology, or XDR as SecureWorks call it. So for me, having an MSSP was very critical because the threat landscape was changing. It's an ever-changing scenario. So why do we take insurance? The same concept I had to explain to the board that we need to have an insurance, but having said that, when I talked about all the stories about insurance and stuff like that, it was a unanimous decision that, okay, go ahead with an MSSP. But then I understood the problem in that statement. And I said, hey, just a minute. Even though you're approving an MSSP, doesn't make me or doesn't make our organization safe. We are making it a bit difficult for the threat, I will not use the word hunters, the threat actors, to get into our organization. We are just raising the bar on the attack vectors, which means that I'd be more interested in talking about the business continuity rather than an MSSP. But having said that, talking about all the nuts and bolts which I've built over the years in our organization, which is talking about NDRs, firewalls, core firewalls, blah, blah, blah. We ended up that every year for a budget, I need to put up a paper saying that I need more money. So the CFO always looks at me and say, okay, here comes with another security project. So I said, probably this is not the last of the project, but this is going to be the biggest one in our history. So let's go for an MSSP. And trust me, we had multiple evaluation criteria, out of which one major criteria which we looked as an organization is having the local presence, but global company, multinational, but with local presence. Since we all are here, I'm not shying out to call out our MSSP partner or our new MDR partner, which is SecureWorks. Thanks to Goban and team, actually did a wonderful job. So they're protecting my environment. Thanks to you guys.
Good one, man. So coming to Jishan, from your perspective, customers are changing their need. How you are coping up to provide that services to meet the customer requirements, and how you're managing that cost.
First of all, I can see the market of managed security, so-called managed security, is getting very active, especially for last 2 years. And we also onboarded good number of customers during the last 2 years. There's a model that we created and we showcased to the customers in a completely different angle. As we mentioned, usually we ask, what are the criteria to select a partner? But I believe we need to see it in a different manner. Consider the threat landscape in the region. For last year, it is available in the market, right? If you look at the multiple vertical, the average impact to the cyber attack is almost 45 to 48%. That means 5 out of 10 entities in whatever the region got impacted. At least, they stopped working for an hour, maybe weeks. We know many stories. And the second part, look at the stories which is available in the market. A mini group of companies, government entities, one of the largest government entity got breached maybe a couple of months back. Do you think they don't invest in technology? I bet you they have, if you look at Gartner, the top 10 or top 25 in each vertical of technology is already there. Big names. But still they got breached. Then we know everyone like Cisco or Kareem, whatever, the big names are got breached. Do you think the technology can, what we realize, a technology cannot stop a threat attack. Why? Because that is why our security model, managed security model, has been changed from a traditional tool-based approach. Because we know, look at EDR, look at a correlation engine on the SIEM or behavior analytics engine on firewalls, whatever the tools, top 10 tools we use, they all detect a known behavior or known model of attack. But we know, if you look at the exposures that showcased recently, all of them are not detected by the tools, or they detected but in the lower level. So what we identified, we consider the exposure management program on top of traditional security monitoring, and we address the critical risk on each month. Look at the technology stack, what are the vulnerabilities, What are the exposure possibilities into that? And what is your threat intelligence knowledge base on each of this risk? Now prioritize it. Definitely the tool will act as we pay for that. But all people, managed security people will work on or threat hunt on typical risk which comes in regular manner. And then definitely the threat hunting will be predefined monthly based on the vulnerability or configuration gaps correlating with threat intelligence. I believe this is the model that we we are live
So,
in the
Jigesh, how you are managing the cost?
It's again a tricky thing, okay? And we go with the GoNITI model. We don't ask any of the customer to pay for a subscription. Whatever tool you have, we use your tools, then we bundle our expertization or skills and methods or process to that. So, for any customer, the normal model is, when we talk about security, we procure the tools. But I'm sure you all have an identity platform, you all have an endpoint security platform, and many of you have so-called, centralized log management platforms. So do you think in such a big toolkit, a single tool will give you some magic results? So we help people to create magic with people and the process. Yeah.
Good. Okay, thank you. That's an interesting. You have multiple queries raised. I should be raising within some time. Kiran, you came from both the backgrounds. You are a twin-sided sword in this panel, actually. I'll be asking a twin-sided question to you as well. How, either an MSSP or an internal, maintain the compliance in a cost-effective way? Is it cost-effective really? And if it is, in which way? To the customer or to the service provider?
Absolutely. As you mentioned, right, I worked in both the roles, as being in the MSSP, managing 50 plus of customer in the region, and also working as the end customer, looking after it from the security posture of the organization. In terms of the cost, because I need to manage my budget, okay, when it comes to the budget, I need to keep the cost low as much as possible. So since I worked in the other side of MSSP, you know it, like when you outsource it to a good MSSP, you can able to bring the cost low, okay, with the economy of scale. When it comes to economy of scale, for example, like if you wanted to do a more on-premise, in-house, SOC, where it leads to that, cost is going, I'm just giving it roughly, numbers actually depend on the organization to organization, this number could vary. Let's take an example for $300,000, right? So for running the internal SOC. But if you wanted to outsource it to external party MSSP, then you can able to bring it down the cost. The reason is that the one person, just as an example, the security analyst will be working across the 5 customers. So in a way, the cost is going down. Okay. At the same time, you can able to bring a lot of value to the organization. So by adapting the latest and greatest trends in the market, the MITRE framework, the attack surface knowledge and experience, what bringing in, improve the use cases, bring the automations around it. So a lot of cool stuff actually embedding into your organization. So to have a more proactive detection response mechanism rather than the reactive kind of approach. So in addition to this one, if you wanted to look in from the compliance perspective, right? So the compliance, when we look into the compliance across, building the compliance reporting for whether it can be a standard one, ISO 27001, could be SOC type 2, or could be something which is more of a regional one, desk reporting, could be the central bank reporting, what we can able to bring in, right? So these reporting mechanism, it's going to take a lot of effort if you wanted to bring in-house person to do this job. When you have a dashboard around this, the reporting mechanism could be the Power BI tools embedding into it, the analytics, ML, the AI algorithm embedded around it, and bring these logics into it. Automated reporting can be extracted easy way, depend on the requirement. It's just more of a plug and play kind of mode you can able to operate it. So in a way that it's going to bring more the attack surface, knowledge and experience, what bringing in, improve the use cases, bring the automations around it. So a lot of cool stuff actually embedding into your organization. So to have a more proactive detection response mechanism rather than the reactive kind of approach. So in addition to this one, like no, so if you wanted to like look in from the compliance perspective, right? So the compliance, like no, when we look into the compliance across, like no, building the compliance reporting for whether it can be a standard one, ISO 27001, could be SOC type 2, or could be something which is more of a regional one, desk reporting, could be the central bank reporting, what we can able to bring in, right? So these reporting mechanism, it's going to take a lot of effort if you wanted to bring in-house person to do this job. When you have a dashboard around this, the reporting mechanism could be like the Power BI tools embedding into it, the analytics, ML, the AI algorithm embedded around it, and bring these logics into it. Automated reporting can be extracted easy way, depend on the requirement. It's just more of a plug and play kind of mode you can able to operate it. So in a way that it's going to bring more effective, for bringing the MSSP into your organization DNA.
All right. So now, Santosh, I will target. So you told that you're very comfortable with an MSSP provider, right? What, if at all, you've seen a breach? Who is accountable for it?
Very valuable question. So, at the end of the day, as an end user organization, the accountability resides obviously with the IT function. But having said that, just to what Mr. Hari, right?
Yeah.
Kiran, sorry. Kiran has mentioned, maintaining an internal IT security team for an end user organization, depending on the size of the organization, it's a costly affair, let me be very honest with you. So when we were talking about having an internal security team, so the point which I put across the debate was just like the frogs in the well, that they were only seeing this kind of industry, what we are facing at all. But security is just not that. Security it cuts across with different industries, personal as well as corporate. It is a different landscape altogether. So from that perspective, so from managing, having a modern MDR, I'm going to use that instead of using MSSP, modern MDR, we decided that we'll have one SOC analyst who will look at the platform, and then we will have, it is not reactive, proactive basis, we are going to do it. Now obviously, July is a live example which I can see in front of me. I'll say it's a real-time scenario, because I was actually not in town, I was actually traveling. And when the first call came from my IT team, the IT operations manager saying that, so we have an issue at office, every screen is going blue, some machines are getting restarted. I'm a bit confused. That was the call which I got. Now, question asking about accountability. Yes, that gentleman is accountable because he is looking after the IT operations. I mean, he's accountable. I mean, at the end of the day, he's responsible and accountable. What I did immediately is I picked up the phone, I called up my local MSSP partner or modern MDR partner, just told them that we have an issue. Please be on ground. We do not want our business to go down. And trust me, probably in 5 to 10 minutes, at least a couple of people from that team was already in my office looking into the issue. But by the time I had the CI Association WhatsApp group and all, where the news was spread that it's a CrowdStrike / Microsoft issue, which means that, wow, we are not the only one. It is global. So that actually gave me more of a relaxation. But the whole, and to answer your question, I mean, the accountability resides obviously with the team. So when I say the team, it's the internal IT department, but we coexist with the MSSP partner or the modern MDR partner so that it is within the organization, it's IT department, but overall, when you look at it, it's a coexistence between the internal IT team and the partner to make sure that the cyber resilience is there. So that's how I put it.
So you have a assurance that a right partner is there. That's why you're able to sleep well.
Absolutely, right partnership, identifying the right team. We took almost 8 months to get into that journey, to identify the right partner. It's almost an 8 to 9 months journey, but I'm very happy. That's the whole story.
Yeah, just one point to add to it, right? Like when it comes to the breaches, right? Like there is a report. It says that like no, it takes 11 months to detect it. Attacker is already in the network, but it is very difficult because like no, there is not having enough like no use cases to identify it and detect it, right? But yeah, I completely agree with Santosh with regards to the accountability. It lies with the internal team and the responsibility equally with the internal team and also with the MSSP. When it comes to the MSSP, it's always like no, it's, when some incident happens, like it's always goes as a blame game, right? So it's always to have some kind of the red teaming, purple teaming kind of exercise to be performed to ensure the threat detection assurance to be given, whether whatever the use cases you have deployed it on ground, whether it's going to like no act on it, right? So you have like no, let's take an example like no, you have 1,000+ of systems where the logs are forwarded to a one of the same, then the use cases are around 250, but in a way that these use cases are not triggering it. You don't know whether triggering it or not, right? When you perform some exercise like the purple teaming, you come to know that one, yes, it is working, so you can able to prevent some big breaches to happen, and you know that how to tackle those incidents.
So we are talking something as a continuous assurance. Try to find out with your security posture, like Neeraj has mentioned in the last session. Okay, that's why I'm not getting deeper into that. All right, Mukesh bhai, from you,
Yeah.
what kind of technology changes that you are seeing in the MSSP providers?
So if we go back 4 or 5 years back, there were only a couple of partners or the providers which were doing well and which were renowned. And at that time, there were only big companies which were implementing or going for a SIM solution or those type of solution which can correlate and showcase the alert. But if we see today, there are multiple technology partners who are already providing this type of services. And the good thing is with the advent of AI, we have AI sitting on top of the SIM solution or whatever technology you call it, which we can leverage and do or configure and see whatever alerts are relevant to the organization. Like 5 years back, I was not even able to imagine that with ELK stack we can do a full-fledged security monitoring. But today we can do a full-fledged security monitoring just by configuring couple of things on top of it. So with this solution, there are multiple other solutions in the space where you can just play and do the things. And
how you manage the skills to ensure that when they are meeting, your team or the MSSP meeting these emerging technologies?
So what my approach is, I go with a hybrid model when it comes to skill. So we have in-house team, plus we have a couple of partners. So we cannot keep all the resources for the skill set which is like required once in a 6 months or 3 months. So for that particular purpose, we depend on the partner. For other things, we are having an in-house team which is doing the day in, day out job. Plus, we are putting automations into the things so that analyst job is what you call getting reduced, and he can focus on actual things which are more relevant, and he can uncover the things which actually requires the CISO's attention or the organization's attention.
So with the introduction of continuous availability, and hyper automation, you're getting into the proactive monitoring rather than a
Yes.
reactive or preventive.
Yes.
Very good, very good. Dishant, from your perspective, from end users, we came to know that one, it is tough to maintain the skill set. How you ensure that one, your team is getting up to date, and so that you are giving the confidence to the end users? I mean, you means you are your partners.
So again, we made it, independent of tools. Like we defined the right policy, and the program will be developed based on the tool landscape, technology landscape. We'll have the right checklists. So as you know, the analyst 1, 2, 3, that model is gone. Now the tool itself is capable to do the detection. It's all about, how, what the color you can see the dashboard or the number you can dashboard. Anybody can play with that. So even for us, earlier we used to take 10-year, 12-year experienced guys. Now we realized they are not familiar with the latest tools, so they won't be much familiar with the program. So what we do, we hire preferably postgraduates in cybersecurity or AI, and we enable them within maybe 6 weeks of time. It's primarily on baseline of security frameworks, then what are the operation model we run, what are the priority checklists they need to follow. And each and every customer, as you mentioned earlier, we don't need champions to manage it. We need people who are smart enough to go through the checklist, identify the risk based on it, because it's well defined. The program is well defined. So, and as I mentioned earlier, the risk based. I don't want them to spend time on thousands of assets. So we have well defined, maybe not more than 25 assets at a time, which is risky, which can impact your business, which can impact your revenue or impact your operation. So we made it as more on risk-based rather than looking at a holistic monitoring. So that's the first thing, and this checklist will be reviewed based on again threat intelligence vulnerabilities on regular manner. So it will be more easier on analyst role. Definitely threat hunting and incident responders, we need experts. And we use our engineering team for more, if you look at the root cause analysis, it's not analysts who do that. We have engineering team, we have experts on identity or network or specific technology, they join.
You have the experience in the wider technologies, not necessarily only the monitoring or MSSP perspective.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Kiran, from your perspective, so two things. One is how you manage the skills again, and giving to, if the skills is one, and next is how you procure that from an end user perspective, and if that skills is not there, what risk an organization is taking.
So when it comes to the skills, right, you need to have a continuous learning and the development around it to have the latest threats which is going to impact the organization needs to be upgraded. So for that, there are multiple ways to tackle this situation. One is that you can empower, nurture the existing team to have those skills. And in addition to this, the person needs to be adapted with AI tools, the chatbot. I can able to give some example around it. With that chatbot, able to search it out information internally within SharePoint, Confluence page, and all these, track it around that when situation like this happens, so what are the steps I need to take care, right? I need to do it. It's more of a playbooks kind of thing. So it gives them the idea beyond that one, how for a specific threat vectors, what the action the person is supposed to take it. In addition to this, so I built the playbooks in a more of a one-click kind of thing for phishing playbooks, right? So just the entire action is done by this playbook. With that action, right, let's take an example wherein that so the internal phishing emails get into the email gateway, landed into a user's Outlook. So one person reported it as a phishing, but when it comes to reporting phishing, there could be a chances that multiple similar kind of phishing email received by other users. So it goes and find it out with the direct intelligence around it, the domain reputation, the IP reputation around it, gives the results around it. This is what the verdict is about the phishing. It's not just only one email, it's 100 different users receive the similar thing. But as a user analyst sitting in, his analysis is he can go and block it, he can go and isolate the machine with a single click. But this result will tell them it's across it. It's not a fully automation. It's just one way that empowering the analyst to take a decision, not with fully automation kind of thing, right? This is the one way that empower the user with the existing tools and the techniques to make them work in an effective way.
So good. So one comment I wanted to do on the skill set matrix. In a couple of financial institutions, I observed that we have a capability score for depend upon the role of that particular person. Whether it is a security analyst, what is the capability score out of 1 to 5, how much it can. It is a standard model that is available. We test using that and try to check it out. Even when we are trying to shortlist a third-party MSSP providers also, whether they're meeting our requirements. One last rapid-fire moment. What is the one risk that MSSP is not aware of? One word.
It's a tricky question.
For you, sir.
Zero-day attacks.
Right, thanks. MSSPs doesn't know about.
It's purely, the revenue or profit related or impact, maybe cyber risk quantification in the right manner. Yeah.
For you?
Visibility. If you know assets, you can protect. If you know that the logs and all, based on that, you can take an action.
By any chance, are you comfortable if the MSSP is outside your regulatory zone?
Yeah, since we are from retail sector, we are okay with
How
that.
about you?
Goes it for me also. They have to be locally present.
Then
but
locally
globally
present
available.
for you, no. Okay. And
Yes.
for you guys, the question is there any regulation changes are happening on MSSP? Especially after, I'm not supporting any vendor, especially after CrowdStrike kind of incident.
Now, primarily what happened, if you look at the attack surface, we included the software as a attack surface. The new change, that we include in the process after this. And regulatory perspective, you don't believe every day new regulations, because we have very few customers in US and Europe. Every day new. It's all about, align with that. It's the hardest part,
Sure.
but we need to, yeah.
For you, sir?
Yeah, depend on the organization hybrid. It's okay to keep it in-house or could be outsourced to external one outside the UAE. Depend on the context.
Good. Thank you. For the audience, any questions from your side? Yep, please. Can we have the mic from you?
Yeah, sure. Just give the mic. Yeah, one second.
Thank you. Good afternoon. You mentioned at the start, one of the panelists, by the way, thank you for the great panel discussion. You mentioned about getting a trusted partner at the start, a reliable partner when you evaluate your MSSPs. How can you give a chance to the newcomers in the industry if you will always depend on a reliable partner with good reference, a trusted one? How can they be in that level if they will not be given a chance?
Very valid question, but my take on this particular thing is, if you wanted to give a chance from a smaller pieces of work. We cannot give a chance for a complete MSSP piece to a newcomer that come and take our environment, because there is a big risk which is involved and which can jeopardize many things. Yeah.
Any other views, sir? Yes.
It's the same standard stuff when somebody pass out from the college. You don't give a chance to the freshers, but you give chance more for the experienced people. So the freshers always say, how can we get that experience? But in comes to security, we cannot take, I'm 100% with this gentleman that we cannot take any risk at all. So we have to go with the standard, well-established MSSP new MDR partner. But having said that, there are so many nuts and bolts, which is like the icing on top of the cake. For example, to give a small firewall setup, or to just give it a try.